Welcome to your daily financial news roundup. Got pardon Bitcoin, AI anxieties, potential trade wars, all that fun stuff.
It sounds like we've got a full plate.
First up is Ross Ulbricht's Silk Road creator, was recently pardoned. But here's the thing. Bitcoin wallets linked to him, they're holding 430 Bitcoin.
Wow.
Haven't been touched in over 13 years.
That's like, what, over $44 million just sitting there?
It raises a lot of questions. Will he even be able to access it? And if so, what will he do with it? I mean,
Right. And is it even ethical to be talking about this? Even if it was public knowledge during the trial, should we really be, putting this out there?
that's a good point. Brings up a lot of questions about privacy in this digital age, right? Now let's just shift gears a bit. Talk about the future of work.
Yeah, the World Economic Forum predicting AI will both create and eliminate millions of jobs by 2025.
So what kind of impact are we really talking about here?
Well, they think clerical and administrative roles are going to be at the hardest, think data entry scheduling, even some customer service jobs.
So while AI agents might not be taking over in the, Terminator sense, they're definitely going to change the employment landscape.
Yeah.
What do you think this means for people who are worried about job security?
I think adaptability is going to be key. Jobs that require creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving, those are going to be less susceptible to automation.
So less about robots replacing us
Yeah.
and more about evolving with technology.
Exactly.
All right, now for those of you holding stock in Crown Castle, listen up.
They just released details about how their 2024 stock distributions will be taxed, including the breakdown of ordinary dividends, qualified dividends, and non-taxable portions.
That's a good thing for investors, right?
Mhm.
Especially when tax season rolls around.
Absolutely. Transparency is key, so investors can plan accordingly and, avoid those nasty surprises.
Okay, speaking of planning, let's talk about something with major global implications. Former President Trump's proposed 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, this has definitely stirred up some controversy.
Yes, some experts are even questioning whether he has the authority to bypass Congress on such a big policy change.
And think about the states that border Canada and Mexico. They rely so heavily on that trade.
It could really disrupt a lot of things, from supply chains to entire industries like auto manufacturing and agriculture.
And then there's the potential for retaliation from Canada and Mexico. This could turn into a full-blown trade war.
It's a situation we'll need to watch closely, for sure. The fallout could be huge, not just for the U.S., but for the global economy as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's shift gears again this time to internal policy shifts.
Okay.
Former President Trump has voiced support for federal cannabis reform.
This is a pretty big deal considering his past stance on drug policy.
Definitely a shift. He's proposing rescheduling cannabis, improving banking access for cannabis businesses, and even granting clemency to those convicted of marijuana offenses. Yeah, Mike Tyson and Weldon Angelos, who's a previously pardoned cannabis offender, they both praised Trump's commitment to reform. They even published an op-ed in Fox News criticizing the current administration's lack of progress on cannabis.
Wow, so cannabis reform is becoming a key political issue now.
Seems like it, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially for those involved in the industry or advocating for reform.
Definitely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's still more to come.
Yes, there is.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll continue to explore the financial news impacting your world.
Welcome back to your daily financial news roundup.
Let's jump right back into it with some international news. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, his first trip abroad is to Panama,
Interesting choice.
especially with those rising tensions between the U.S. and Panama after former President Trump's comments about, potentially reclaiming the Panama Canal.
Yeah, Panama's President Jose Raul Molino, he made it clear that's not happening.
Right, the Panama Canal is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars worth of goods pass through there, so control over it is, pretty important, both economically and strategically.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? Is this visit like a diplomacy thing or more of a show of force?
Hard to say. Rubio's agenda does include discussions about illegal migration and the future of the canal itself. So it could be a chance to find some common ground, or it could be a way to assert U.S. influence,
Right. It is a multi-country tour. He's also visiting Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, and the Dominican Republic.
All major transit points for migrants coming to the U.S.
Exactly. All right, let's get back to AI for a minute. We talked about the potential job losses, but there's also a lot of opportunity there, especially with generative AI.
Yeah, generative AI is pretty amazing. It can create new content like text, images, even code.
Really?
Yeah, it could revolutionize a lot of fields: marketing, education, healthcare, scientific research, you name it.
So how would this impact, everyday life?
Imagine personalized education tailored to your learning style, or AI-powered healthcare that diagnose these diseases earlier and more accurately.
Wow.
Or even AI assistants that handle all your daily tasks, freeing up your time for more, meaningful things.
Sounds pretty great, but I guess there's some potential downsides too, right?
Of course, data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the potential for misuse are all valid concerns. We need to be careful about how we develop and use this technology.
Makes sense. Okay, back to former President Trump. His proposed 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada. It's facing a lot of pushback. Some people think it's just a tactic to gain leverage on other issues like immigration or security.
It's definitely a risky move, could have some major economic consequences.
What do you think will he actually go through with it?
Who knows? But economists are already predicting potential job losses, price increases, even a hit to the stock market and the value of the dollar.
And what about a relationship with Canada and Mexico?
Yeah, this could definitely strain those relationships or weaken alliances and potentially, embolden our rivals.
It's a complicated situation. All right, let's talk about something else. Former President Trump's sudden support for cannabis reform.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it?
Definitely. Considering his past views on drug policy, some people think it's a strategy to attract certain voters, while others believe he sees the economic potential of the cannabis industry.
Yeah, it's a hot topic right now. A lot of debate surrounding it, especially when it comes to public health safety and, how to regulate it effectively.
Absolutely. Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about investments. If you had invested $1,000 in Marathon Petroleum a decade ago, it would be worth over $3,300 today.
That's a pretty impressive return.
It is. Does that mean it's a safe bet for the future, though?
Well, past performance doesn't guarantee future success. Investing always has risks, but it does show the power of long-term investing and how compounded returns can really add up over time.
Right. Okay, what about another example? S&P Global stock, a $1,000 investment 10 years ago, would now be worth over $5,500.
Both Marathon Petroleum and S&P Global are well-established companies with a good track record, but, the strong bull market of the past decade has also helped boost stock prices in general.
So diversification is key.
Exactly. Spreading your investments across different asset classes and sectors can help mitigate risk.
And doing your research.
Absolutely understand the companies you're investing in and the factors that can impact their performance.
Okay, let's play a little game. What do Iceland, Turkey, and the UK have in common when it comes to trade?
I'm not sure I know this one.
Well, the EU's trade chief has hinted at the UK potentially joining the Pan-Euro-Mediterranean Convention, or PEM.
Ah, okay. I see where you're going with this.
This agreement allows for tariff-free movement of goods between participating countries, including those three.
So this could be huge for the UK post-Brexit, giving them access to a massive market.
It could really boost their economy,
Right.
but it would also mean aligning with EU regulations,
Okay.
which, might not sit well with everyone.
It's a tough choice, economic benefits versus regulatory control.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll wrap up today's daily financial news roundup with stories on entertainment, tech investments, and the state of the restaurant industry. And we're back, the final part of your daily financial news roundup.
Let's kick things off with some entertainment news. Netflix is raising prices again, but get this, they're also seeing a surge in new subscribers.
They must be pretty confident that people will pay more for their content, especially with those big hits like the new season of Squid Game and, those exclusive sports events.
Yeah, like the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight.
Exactly.
It seems like their strategy is to really focus on those live events. They're even planning to stream WWE wrestling and the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2027 and 2031.
Wow, so they're going all in on creating a one-stop shop for streaming.
That's the idea.
Interesting. Okay, speaking of attracting viewers, Meta is trying to lure TikTok creators over to Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, they're offering cash incentives up to $5,000 for popular creators to make the switch.
Is there a cap?
Well, they have to post regularly, specifically Reels, Meta's version of those short videos.
Well, makes sense. Got to keep people engaged.
Exactly, and they're even offering a free verification badge to sweeten the deal.
Nice. All right, let's move on to a huge investment in the tech world. A group of tech giants is pouring $500 billion into AI infrastructure right here in the U.S.
That's a massive amount of money. What's driving this investment?
What's called the Stargate project, and it's led by OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. They're partnering with Oracle Japan's SoftBank, and a United Arab Emirates sovereign wealth fund.
It's a pretty global team.
Yeah, and the goal is to build AI data centers, the infrastructure needed for developing and running advanced AI systems.
It's all about strengthening U.S. leadership in the AI field, stimulating job creation, and basically ensuring that the future of technology is rooted here in the U.S.
Sounds ambitious. Are there any concerns about this project, though?
Of course, there are concerns about the environmental impact, energy consumption, water usage, things like that. And then there's the involvement of foreign investors, which raises questions about national security.
Right. Those are definitely things to consider as the project moves forward.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring things a little closer to home and talk about something that's impacting a lot of communities, empty restaurants.
Yeah, it's a noticeable change, a sign of the challenges the restaurant industry is facing, the pandemic's lingering effects, the rising cost of living. It's all making people think twice about dining out.
And it's not just about empty tables, right? There's the potential for job losses and even business closures as restaurants struggle with those rising costs and shrinking profits.
It's a tough situation for sure, and it highlights the need for government support and creative solutions to help the industry bounce back.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about another industry feeling the pressure,
Yeah.
the toy industry.
Even playtime isn't immune to economic uncertainty, it seems.
What are people buying these days?
Well, parents are being more careful with their spending. They're looking for affordable and collectible toys.
Like Squishmallows.
Yeah, those are still super popular. They're cute, cuddly, and relatively inexpensive.
And what about Lego?
Lego is a classic. It never goes out of style. They're always coming up with new themes and sets. Even Lego flowers are becoming a thing.
Really?
Yeah, apparently they're a popular alternative to roses for Valentine's Day. They last longer and they're definitely more unique.
That's pretty cool. Well, that wraps up today's daily financial news roundup. We covered a lot of ground today. Everything from Bitcoin and AI to global trade and the state of different industries.
It's a lot to keep up with, but it's important to stay informed. Don't just take headlines at face value. Dig a little deeper, question what you hear, and seek out different perspectives.
That's great advice. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you tomorrow for another look at the financial world.
Until then, take care and make smart choices.